So we all know about the latest on the NFL protests and the new thing that the owners came out with today. And, that's fine. That's good. The players are going to do what they want to do and the owners are going to do what they want to do. The problem that I see, though, the problem that I have is that with ESPN, now ESPN is such a propaganda wing of players' unions. They get on there. There's 3 people on there, and all 3 people agree that the players should be able to kneel. That the owners are wrong. That the owners don't have a right to protect their brand. The billion-dollar brand that has built through the NFL, but the owners don't have a right to protect that, according to ESPN. Now ESPN will protect their brand, which is a failing brand, by the way. ESPN is a failing brand, and not only is it failing, the only reason it's still viable, the only reason that it's still out there is because, one, you have the Disney money. They're aligned with ABC and Disney, and they have all this money, and they continue to push this political agenda. I think that ESPN knows that if they don't become social justice warriors, that they understand that it's done. They're it. So, you turn on ESPN, you turn on, you watch Stephen A. Smith, or you watch First Take, or in the morning, that terrible show in the morning, which is with Michelle Beadle. And she goes on this rant about how the owners don't care about the players, this whole boohoo thing, this whole feeling thing. And guys, as a sports fan, it might just be that the country doesn't want to see people kneeling as people are dying overseas, especially in the national anthem. Now you can even argue that before this, before 9/11, that the NFL didn't even do the national anthem. They didn't even televise it. Well, they didn't do that because, it wasn't, they could sell more ads. It made sense to sell more ads. It made sense to, try to make a little money in this thing. Well, 9/11 happened, and I think they didn't do it for a few years even after that. And then they started to do a little bit more of the national anthem, and I'm not sure the exact date. But when you have a country that is at war, and you have people who are dying overseas, and you may say we don't have that war, but we are still at war. We still have people deployed all across the world. If they're not dying today, they died a few months ago, or they're about, they're in harm's way. People, it's just not good optics. And if you have that brand, it's not good optics if you're trying to sell that brand, to be protesting the same country that allows you to make that money. You have $1 million athletes that have victimized. They have become victims in their head. They say, well, this has only happened to black people. Now, that's not necessarily true. The white people get shot by Mexicans, Latinos get shot. People get shot all the time by the cops. And, there probably needs to be a better, more scrutiny on some of that. I agree with. I do agree with the fact that, a lot of these police officers, they don't necessarily, they don't police themselves very well. They'll throw it under the rug, or, and there's multiple reasons for that and why that happens. But there definitely needs to be some more transparency on that and better things like that. However, when your leader is Colin Kaepernick of this whole movement, Colin Kaepernick, an avowed communist, he wears pigs on his socks and communist and Fidel Castro shirts and Che Guevara shirts. It's funny that Kaepernick uses capitalism to get paid, uses capitalism to have his platform. However, Colin Kaepernick is still a communist. And nobody wants to bring that up. You're not going to see that on ESPN. No, you're not going to turn on ESPN and see anybody bring up that. You're not going to see Max Kellerman, who is a true social justice warrior. Don't think he's not. He's not going to bring that up, and he knows where his bread is buttered. He's not going to go against the thing. And Stephen A. Smith and Michelle Beadle and all those same people. Actually, at least remember Jamel Hill? She said that Trump was a Nazi. I mean, we have a black lady calling a president of the United States a white supremacist, and ESPN didn't like it. ESPN kind of swept it under the rug, but it's probably not a good idea, and that's why Jamel Hill is writing columns now or whatever she's doing. I mean, the show was terrible, But you know, these players have come up and they've talked them ways into being victims. You know, even though they've had millions of dollars, they taught their ways into being victims. You know, nobody brings up Michael Bennett in this thing. Nobody brings up the Las Vegas incident with Michael Bennett. And you know, he just constantly tries to antagonize and get things stirred up. You know, that's fine. You know, but you know, have some objectivity. Have some dissenting opinions on ESPN. Do something. Anyway, you know, that's a typical response by CNN, and most of these sports reporters are just sports reporters. You think CNN has fake news? Wait, just watch any sports reporter. Maybe on some radio you may find somebody that agrees with the owners on this aspect, but for the most part, you know, all sports reporters understand that they're just going to be a propaganda wing of a players union, because they don't get interviews with players. They don't get the perks of being a sports reporter, you know, without being a propaganda arm of the players union. Anyways, guys, that's all.